guys, it's Alex, and I wanted to take some time because I'm going to be going into the hives today. It is winter time still here in South Carolina, but it is 68 degrees today. It is mid-morning, and I need to check because I haven't been in the hives in a couple of months, and I've been letting them do their thing all winter. They're very active. Maybe I can turn this so you can see the entrances to my hives are pretty active right now. We're getting ready to add another hive soon, but I'm going to go into one hive today. I'm going to check and see how they're doing, make sure that they've still got honey stores left in there. Our honey flow is probably going to be starting pretty soon here in the next probably I think month to 2 months, so they're getting ready. I have been for the last 2 weeks been feeding them an organic sugar water formulation when it's been warm enough for them to leave the hive, and that's been pretty much every day. So we're going to get the smoker going and go into the hive and see what we find. All right, so I'm back and all suited up now. Every beekeeper is different. Everybody wears different levels of gear. I know that I happen to be allergic to bee stings and had the unfortunate opportunity to find that out last year when I went into a hive and got stung 4 times and developed a little bit of cellulitis at the site of 2 of my stings. And so now I just go in fully suited up with gloves and everything. When I am not in my hives, and for example around the bees, when they're in their feed or whatnot, they'll land on my arm, they'll land on my hand, and it's fine. They're not bothering me. But when I'm in their house, in their territory, I do get suited up because these are actually really gentle hives. But when you go into their home, you know, they understandably get a little upset. So I have full gear on. I have my smoker going. I was using pine chips, but I've just recently switched to using burlap, and it creates a nice long. I actually was watching a guy on YouTube. I think his name is the Bush Bee Man, and he's hilarious. If you are looking for someone to follow who is very into his bees, but has a great sense of humor, he's a great one to follow. But anyhow, he used burlap in his entire smoker, not just as a longevity fuel. He had a big old roll of it. So I'm trying that today. I've got my smoker stuffed full of burlap, and so we're gonna go ahead and go in. I'm gonna smoke the entrance to the hive first, just to kind of calm them down a little bit, and then I'm gonna pop the lid off. All right, so not really much activity here because I actually gave them a little bit of dry organic sugar. And so this top box that you see is just kind of an empty box that had sugar in it. So there's a few bees on the inside of my hive there, the inside of the inner cover. So we're just gonna set that down on the ground. That down, and as you can see, this was a small cardboard box that I had put in here to hold the sugar, and they've propolized it a little bit, so we're just gonna put that right there. All right, so there's definitely some activity going on down there. Well, lots of activity. So gonna give them a little puff of smoke. And I have a little perch that I can just put honey frames on. All right, so let me just loosen some of these frames, kind of take a look at what's going on down here. So this is understandably not really built out that much. There's some bees with pollen on them. You can probably see some little black hive beetles all over. So we're actually going to be putting some hive beetle traps down there. And hive beetles are just kind of a necessary nuisance, it would seem. The best way to get rid of them is to kill them. But we're gonna be putting some traps down for them too. And they're very, you can see some bees there with pollen with their little faces down into the frame, which is really cool. So we're gonna put this here as we pull out some other frames. And we're gonna see what else is going on in here. I always try to be very careful that I don't crush any. All right, so this frame is probably half built out with some honey. You can see them at work. You've got their face in a cell. Okay, so I've gone into the very top honey super, and these are doing well. Quite a bit of hive beetles, but we're gonna take care of that. So now I'm gonna go into the second box. There was actually 4 boxes on this hive, so this is the second one, and we're gonna see what's going on in there. All right, so we've got 1 and 2 boxes on there right now. You can see there's a little bit of honeycomb right there. There's a lot going on in there, and I've found a lot of drones. So I'm gonna pull some of these frames and show you what's going on inside this first honey super that's above the brood nest. So this is exciting. I found my queen. You can see her right there. She just stuck her head down into a cell. She's probably eating, and you can see all these bees are clustered around her, tending to her every need. Oh, did I lose her again? She's a little shy because I actually found her on the other side. There she is, on the other side of the frame. And I went to grab my camera and she had disappeared on me, and there she goes. She's flipping over again. She's a little camera shy. So we don't want to stress her out, and we also don't want her falling off the frame. But you can see her, there she is, making her way around the frame. Really amazing to see. And there's some more video of her walking around, surveying her kingdom. Wherever she goes, she has bees tending to her every need. All right, so our inspection is done. I'm gonna let you see what the hive looks like. You can see it's just business as usual. I did take off the entrance reducer. So there was one of these on the hive. And what that does is it cuts their entrance down so that, for a couple reasons. One is to eliminate pests getting in there, especially in the winter time when maybe there's not as much coming and going for the bees. And another reason is to keep the cold air out. You know, the bees have to work really, really hard to keep the air inside the hive at a perfect temperature to protect that queen. So our bees are good. Even though it is winter and it's definitely not a time to harvest honey, because I went into the winter giving them so much honey, I was able to pull a fully capped frame of honey out of there, because they probably have close to a dozen frames in there right now that have at least 50 to 75% honey. And so that's going to be plenty of food for them to eat while they wait for the spring honey flow coming up here. I'm a little sweaty. So And the reason I took a frame of honey is because allergies are hitting here really hard. And so my son and I are going to enjoy a tablespoon of our local honey every single day, maybe twice a day, to help with the allergies. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and thank you for joining me, and I hope you got as excited to see my queen as I did, and I'll be back later.